This movie reminds me of the pretty girl in high school. You know, everybody kind of had a big thing for her, and she was really pretty, but there wasn't a lot going on up here. Hey, I'm Mr. Wright, and welcome to Wright at the Movies. Today, I'm talking about Jupiter Ascending. Jupiter Ascending is the new sci-fi epic directed by the Wachowski brothers. Wachowski siblings. The Wachowskis. And it stars Channing Tatum, Mila Kunis, Eddie Redmayne, and Sean Bean, and is basically a sci-fi fairy tale. And I was sort of excited about this. It's a new, original sci-fi movie, and it's not a remake, it's not a sequel, it's not an adaptation of a comic book. I always kind of root for the Wachowskis. The Matrix is a really, really cool movie, and it changed movie making and action movie making for years to come. There was definite problems with it, but it changed so much. Unfortunately, everything after that kind of sucks. Matrix 2 and 3 go too far with the philosophical stuff, and it becomes very full of themselves, and then, you know, that wasn't enough for the Wachowskis, because then they did Cloud Atlas, and Cloud Atlas is even more pretentious and even more philosophical, and it all just sounds like static to your ears after a while. And then Speed Racer was, well, Speed Racer. Speed Racer speaks for itself. I feel like they're just riding the Matrix's coattails. And since everybody in the Matrix wears long trench coats, they're very, very long coattails. I honestly don't even know where to begin with this one. You have Mila Kunis, who is named Jupiter. Interesting name. And she's a maid. And so every day, she just deals with a bunch of rich, fancy pants people telling her to clean the toilets. And that's her life, and she totally hates it. Until one day, this super cool, rad, hoverboard, you know, Channing Tatum dog soldier guy shows up and says, hey, you are a magical space princess, and everything here is totally not what you're supposed to be. Let's go up to space, and you're gonna meet everybody up there, and you're gonna love it. Let's go.
Why is this happening to me?
You are royalty, Your Majesty.
And she just meets all these super pompous, douchey space bureaucrats. And all of them just want the Earth, and since it's her property technically, they need to talk to her about it.
Your Earth is a very small part of a very large industry. Once you claim it, the Earth will belong to you.
So I'm gonna need you to sign here, initial here, dot here. We're gonna need photo evidence, we're gonna need you to go down to the bureaucrat's office, we're gonna need you to sign this, this, and this, you're gonna need a license, you're gonna need a permit. She gets this really cool robot, like, lawyer bureaucrat guy, and it feels like something straight out of Brazil. And then after all the paperwork they have to file, even the bureaucrat bot 5000's like, that was really funny and that was a great scene, but it doesn't fit the movie at all. She's dealing with all these boring bureaucrats and all these space land negotiations, and she's standing in front of these blank, you know, green screen backgrounds, and they put in these super over-the-top CGI backgrounds, and she's wearing these big dresses, and there's tons of makeup, and everybody has weirdo hairstyles.
And she's down there.
And nobody gives a crap about anybody in this movie. Everybody just is complete blank robots, and you just don't care. And there's no charm between any of them. There's this romance they're trying to bud, but you just don't seem to give a crap. And the whole time you're just sitting there staring at these people who don't know what's going on, and the directors don't know what's going on, because they're all just standing in front of green screens, and it all just feels so freaking lifeless. I swear I've seen this movie before. And though he just drags her along through this whole space adventure, and the whole time she's just like a sock. She's just going from place to place, and she just totally accepts everything and everyone for what they're saying. She's the most gullible character maybe in all of movies. A movie all about female empowerment has one of the most ridiculous and pointless and defenseless women characters I think I've ever seen.
Who are you?
I'm here to help you.
Channing Tatum keeps on getting put into cages and he just keeps breaking out and tries to rescue her and she falls and then he catches her. I'm not kidding. Like, she falls out of places and Channing Tatum flies and catches her maybe like 4, 5, 6 times. Everyone is trying to undercut her and trying to like cash in on her gullibleness that maybe Channing Tatum is too. How do we know he's the good guy? He could be making all this up too. The two main characters have no chemistry at all. They just go on and on about how destined they are for each other and there's like nothing to them. They just kind of want a bone. That's about it.
I have more in common with a dog than I have with you.
I love dogs. I've always loved dogs.
Bad guys keep tricking her and she keeps falling for it and then she keeps almost signing the paper and then Channing Tatum swoops in and saves her and goes, hey, those were bad guys. And she's just like, oh, okay. And then like they go to another place and then it happens again and then a bad guy almost tricks her and then Channing Tatum swoops in and catches her and it just repeats itself and repeats itself and repeats itself and repeats itself. It just feels like this huge hodgepodge of ideas that are just super glued together and hope they'll all stick. I thought Channing Tatum was okay in the movie. He's okay in a lot of movies. Every movie that he's in, he feels like he's just trying that much harder. Like, he just will be in a movie, people don't like this and that, and so he learns to adapt and try again next time. Mila Kunis is alright in the movie too. It's not the acting, it's the directing. The director and the actor, both, there's nothing to work with. It's just a green, blank screen. You look at my show, and it's all green screen. But you know it's green screen. Your brain can tell. So she just stands there as everyone goes on and on about space law, and she just doesn't get any of it. And all these like spaceships and aliens are flying past her, and it's just, you don't buy any of it.
Your planet was seeded by brass axe industries roughly 100,000 years ago.
The evil villain and the lead of all these evil space douchebags is Eddie Redmayne. And Eddie Redmayne is a nominee for Best Actor this year in the Oscars. But not for this movie. God, not for this movie.
I will harvest that planet tomorrow before I let her take it from me.
He talks like this the whole time and he just sort of mumbles his lines in this boring way and it's so hard to understand him, and then right when you think he's done talking, he talks like this.
I want her found, and I want her dead.
He made me laugh. He had tons of these dramatic speeches about how no one respects him and everyone thinks he's a joke and he's going to take over the earth and he's going to take over the galaxy and everyone should be scared of him, and I was laughing. I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. This movie sucks. After like a couple takes of that, did the Wachowskis just come in and go, alright, can you cut, can we try that again, and this time can you not do that? And of course, it's not done yet, because not only is he the most ridiculous and cartoony, like mustache twirling bad guy ever, but he also has an army of like CGI lizard men with wings, and they all are like really dark and they all wear like tons of leather, and it's just like, it feels so like Wizard of Oz, and like, and the army of like obvious evil henchmen and the leader. This movie is just packed to the brim with weird stuff. And yeah, it's sci-fi. That should be expected. But I'm telling you, it's too much weird stuff. The protagonist is supposed to ask the questions that we're asking. And so that's Mila Kunis. And so she just goes, what's that thing? And they're like, oh, well, that's a giant, like, teleportation ray. And she just goes, all right, what's that thing? And they're like, oh, well, that's a giant, like, space laser. And she's like, all right. She asks the questions, but she doesn't really seem all that interested in the answers. Guardians of the Galaxy is fun. The Fifth Element is cheesy, but it's fun. This isn't fun. This could have been a cool world. This could have been a cool new universe of cool, fun, Star Wars-y, Marvel-y stuff they could have done. But I feel like they just kind of rushed it. So, one thumb down. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Mr. Wright. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Ugh.